Get the football out of here.
For 6 months, this busy lady has been bombarded with bogus bills.
It's wrong. It's totally wrong.
The charges from a company called ARD Medical Equipment Incorporated. One bill, more than $200 for blood glucose monitors. Another statement, $1,400 for dressings for her open wounds. These are things diabetics sometimes need, but there's just one problem.
I'm not a diabetic.
And if you think Irma's problem isn't your problem, think again. It turns out Irma isn't the one paying these bogus bills. We the people are. The federal government paid them because Irma is on Medicare.
Come on.
When we first met her back in July,
6, 7, 8.
the 75-year-old was exercising, cooking, even climbing ladders.
I love to clean. Once every month or so, I'll get up here.
So it was a shock when more statements started arriving.
Why should any company be taking tax dollars from people like you and me?
ARD Medical Equipment did. This time, the company told Medicare active Irma needed a motorized scooter and a wheelchair to get around.
Never. I'm very mobile.
But taxpayers paid the bills anyway, this time shelling out almost $16,000.
I never ordered anything from them. They never sent me anything. You can expect a company to make one mistake on one invoice, but 4, totaling over $19,000, that's a very large mistake.
After our report, Medicare investigated. They found Irma Popkin's charges were inappropriate, and they ordered the company, ARD Medical Equipment Incorporated, to pay taxpayers back. So we really thought this story was over, but we were really wrong.
Surprise, surprise.
Nanette Zoltorov is a cancer survivor.
You get very few supplies when you have cancer. You basically get shots. I mean, you get treatment. But it has nothing to do with walking. It has nothing to do with wheelchairs. It has nothing to do with restraints. None of this.
So imagine her surprise when she got these bills for things like leg and arm rests for her wheelchair.
That was the shocker. We got absolutely nothing that's on those lists. I never ordered any of this. I didn't expect any of this, and this is almost up to $20,000 now. That's been paid out by Medicare.
And again, taxpayers paid in full. But you're about to find out Nanette and Irma are just the tip of the iceberg.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jeffy's office. Laura speaking. How may I help you?
The phony claims are being reported here, too.
Hey, how are you? As of today, there's 16 patients that have told us about the Medicare fraud.
Laura Garcia is the office manager inside this doctor's office in Atlanta. She says patients getting these bogus bills face a bigger problem if one day they really need a wheelchair.
And those patients that need that equipment are not going to receive it if Medicare already believes that they have it.
It happens more often than we would like it to.
Kimberly Brandt heads the Program Integrity Group, the arm of Medicare that protects against fraud and abuse. She says medical equipment companies are tough to monitor.
Durable medical equipment suppliers are relatively easy for people to get in and out of as a business. And unfortunately, we have people who try and get those suppliers with the intent of defrauding the government.
Contact 5 wanted to know more about the business causing problems for Irma and Nanette, ARD Medical Equipment Incorporated. State records show the business operates out of Orlando, so we took a road trip and found their office in this strip mall. No one was working when we stopped by. But corporate records led us here to Miami, where ARD's owners run another shop called ARD Medical Supplies.
Okay, here comes the car.
We waited for that office to open, but again, no one ever showed up for work. What did show up when Contact 5 kept digging?
We're paying for this.
A twist in Irma Popkin's story. Just when she thought her bogus billing problems were over, she says more phony statements arrived. The company making the claims this time, AROL 4. Contact 5 checked the background of this business. The owners, the same people who own ARD.
I mean, this is totally fraudulent. It's obvious, and they should be penalized. They shouldn't get away with it.
But they are, according to Medicare, because as we found, businesses like these are tough to track down, so patients better be keeping close watch over their statements.
And many people are never going to look at their bills. I mean, let's be honest. They file them. They just file them in a piece of paper in the garbage. Most people don't even bother to look to see what's on there. Medicare is going to run out of money if they keep this up.
After that report aired, Channel 5 was flooded with similar complaints. We received more than 150 phone calls and emails saying others had been scammed the same way. We couldn't possibly travel to everyone's home, so we invited those who called and wrote here to our studio in downtown West Palm Beach. When we come back, you'll hear from those seniors. Back in a moment. How many of you have had your Medicare number billed for things that you never received? Every single person here. Okay, how many people have had their Medicare number billed for a wheelchair? How many people actually needed that wheelchair? Did anyone in here actually get that wheelchair? Okay. How many people have had their Medicare number billed for any of the following items? Air mattresses, gauze for open wounds, external food pumps, or motorized scooters? I want you to raise your hand if this pertains to you. Those of you who have been billed, your Medicare number billed, to the tune of $5,000 or more. Hold your hand up and keep it up if you have been billed more than $10,000, more than $20,000, more than $30,000, more than $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $48,000. $63,000. How much do you mean?
My name is Virginia Jordan. I'm from Vero Beach, Florida. I've received bills for approximately $70,000 from 4 different companies.
Because Medicare paid for and has record that all of these people received medical supplies, should they get sick someday and really need that equipment, they will be denied because Medicare's records will show they already have it.
My problem is that what happens if I need some of this equipment? I'm sick, and I asked for 2 years to have a PET scan. I had cancer. And when I got the answer to that was, your type of cancer we don't have a number for. And they refused to give me a PET scan, but they will give me 3 CAT scans in one day. Well, I said, would you rather pay, not give me a PET scan to see if it's spread, but you would pay $1 million if that's what it is for my chemo? And they said yes. And, well, let me tell you something, and I'm going to show you. I have cancer again. And I'm in chemo. And they don't care. But they keep billing me for things that I don't have. And I don't think that's fair. You can't get to anybody who pays any attention. And enough is enough.
Gene Stone, a Medicare executive, listened to our forum by telephone from Washington, D.C. Gene, first of all, just your reaction to the forum today.
Okay. It's an eye-opener, and I apologize to your audience for any frustration they're experiencing because of lack of feedback. That's totally inaccurate and inadequate service. The information should be taken down and should be referred.
I talked to the guy in fraud. He says they are so overwhelmed, he says, since Florida in the last year. He says we just don't have enough people. He said to keep up with the fraud that's coming in.
Gene, is that true?
Florida is a unique situation, yes. Medicare fraud, DME in South Florida, it's ground zero for fraud.
According to your records, you have 4 wheelchairs? You were billed
Yes,
for
one
4.
was electric and the other 3 were different, different price, yes.
How is it that a computer system doesn't pick up on the fact that this woman has already been sent a wheelchair?
That's a good question because there should be duplicate billing edits in the system that would prevent that. That's why I will have to go back and research the specific claims because that shouldn't be happening.
How can we fix this situation? Because everybody here, it seems today, is saying the same thing in that they're calling multiple times, they're talking to different people. Is there a way to remedy that?
There sure better be, and I will take that message back. The type of complaints that we're getting, I heard the complaint about the long waiting times, the non-responsiveness, the inappropriate response.
But there are still some other big questions from our audience, and some of the other panelists are about to weigh in.
And the only question I'd like to ask is why it is, and it should not be, is our Social Security number our Medicare number. This leads to wide open fraud.
I would suggest that in the federal system, the use of Social Security numbers perhaps is something that, should be thought of as something that may want to be changed.
What about a system where they would not actually pay it until we got the bill so we can look it over? In other words, if I received this before they paid it, I could call immediately, like I did call, and say, this is not me, I don't need this, I didn't receive it, don't pay it.
Jean, how much authority do you have to change the systems that you're working within right now?
Right now, we have legislation that calls for claims processing timeliness, and something like 98% of our claims have to be paid within 30 days. So we don't have the authority right now to hold up payment on sale.
Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? What she just said was very important. Do you understand this? This is when you need to be talking to your representatives, your congressmen and your senators. Can you repeat that, Jean?
Yes, we have a legislation that calls for claims processing timeliness. Our agency has to process something like 98% of claims in 30 days. Otherwise, we pay interest. We don't have resources to research vast numbers of claims. Medicare processes 1 billion claims a year from 1 million providers for 45 million beneficiaries. So resources are the issue. We do not have the resources to have case managers. We are strapped, and our budget is flatlined.
So where are these companies causing all of these problems? We found some of them in strip mall after strip mall on the streets of Miami, some of them in Orlando. The doors always locked, and none of the company owners returned our calls. We invited a panel of people to sit in on our forum, including lawmakers, officials from Florida's Attorney General's office, even prosecutors from the U.S. Department of Justice.
We are just as frustrated as each and every one of you is with respect to this problem. And this is a key priority of our office.
But the panel told us tracking down bogus medical supply companies is especially tough.
Why is that? Are they opening and shutting so quickly that you can't get there in time?
The people that engage in this type of fraud have gotten extremely sophisticated.
If you want to bleep this out, but you've asked for it, there must be a very special place in hell for the people right now that are stealing from your future health care benefits and who are robbing the future families of this country to take a little bit of this dollar that's coming your way.
Now, right now, it's important to point out these seniors are talking about Medicare money, which is federal money. That means Florida state lawmakers who work in Tallahassee, like Senator Jeff Atwater, really can't get involved with the policy of Medicare money. Our federal senators and congressmen in Washington, D.C. have to do that. But the state did have similar trouble with these bogus supply companies, also known as DME companies, stealing Medicaid money, which is controlled by the state. So here's how the senator said the state of Florida solved the problem.
In the Medicaid system, before you receive that provider number, before you can bill into the Medicaid system, any officer, any owner is going to be fingerprinted for an FBI check across the nation. You're going to be fingerprinted, you're going to put up a $50,000 surety bond. We are going to come to your site to see all the equipment, and there's going to be an accreditation check on the systems in the operation that you're legit, and we're going to be back within 24 months. This fraud must be stopped when a DME company seeks to do business in this state. There is no reason an honest-to-goodness person who wants to operate and serve people and make a fine profit would protest to putting their fingerprint down, because this is a unique form of fraud that's occurring, and it's rampant here. Put your fingerprint down, let's do a full background check, put up a surety bond. Remember, someone is now substituting their credit for yours if you walk, and they're not going to do that lightly. So I just might suggest again that a responsibility for us as state legislators may be to call upon our federal partners. Do you want to stiffen the standard for somebody receiving a Medicare payment number? And if you want to join where we're at in the state of Florida, raise the bar. And if we don't have it right yet, let's raise it again. We have to stop the fraud before it can start. But I've heard a lot today, Shannon, and I'll look forward to how we can work these ideas.